Our first reader is Wo Chan. Wo Chan is a poet and drag performer living in Brooklyn. Wo is the author of the chapbook Order the World, Mom by Belladonna, and has received honors from the New York Foundation of the Arts, Kundiman, Lambda Literary, and the Asian American Writers Workshop. As a standing member of the Brooklyn-based drag burlesque collective Switch and Play, Wo has performed at venues including the Whitney, Joe's Pub, National Sawdust, New York Live Arts, and Bam Fisher. Wo was born in Macau, China, and currently lives in New York, where they are an MFA candidate in poetry at NYU. Please give a hand.
Okay, gotta clutch this and raise it. Cool. Can we get a round of applause for Emily? What am I supposed to do with that? Just like as I'm reading, or okay. If there's a slow moment, and okay, I'll do it after this poem. I'm so happy to be here. I'm so happy to see you here. The year you left New York was so sad for me, but I've enjoyed continuing talking to you and hanging out and continuing our friendship. I was thinking back to the first time we hung out. We went to a dog park, I think, and we just watched dogs, which, thinking back, is not so different from now, where every time I FaceTime you, you show me your dogs. So I've been writing a lot about, congratulations on your book. I can't read it. I can't wait to read it. I can't read it. I have to wait. I've been writing about friendships a lot, so it seems fitting to be surrounded by friends tonight. And yeah, let's just start. This poem is about performing at Bushwig. Performing Miss America at Bushwig 2018, then chilling. Breathed some reddish dolphins, these bare feet busted, tore through my capezios, unmoisturized. They join your pilgrim black boot, oh my mammal. The wide weekend's long disclosure of drugs drawn precious, depressed, high function, high anxious. 2018 gifts us fed dossiers on our stupendous thumbs down needs. You need therapy. I need money. We ditch our brains, unable to shred the fog of futures where justice, passion, paycheck, and pleasure meet. 2 hours ago, we ran late through slashing rain on Smith, tumbling you, your sister, family in the Uber XL backseat helps me paste a glittering red America on my toilet paper sash. We made it. Early at Bushwig, barely attended, I exploded the bouquet, rolled nakedly on stage. I didn't expect to make $14 cash crumpled. I took mushrooms as planned, time unclenched. I found you, sipping rosé back bar. I was so happy. Joy flapped its wings in the dust bath. You said I didn't seem different, but by then I could no longer bear violence, however simulated. I wanted only to see soft things. Your empath friend, Our Lady in Paradise, gave guided meditations, undoing some violence in synchrony. She sings under the megawatts of her holographic leotard, new songs about her gender dysphoria. My smile pancakes beyond the edges of my cousin art face. She's so great, I say, stretching like an accordion. But how useful are words now? I had lost the white pearls glued on my décolleté. They dropped far like seeds from a seagull's asshole. Thinking about a feeling is like photocopying a feeling. It's not the same. I brag my brain is fearless, yet I wear my heart painted across my face. Waiting for the all-gender bathrooms with you, I just wanted to sit and melt like Kerrygold into your fur coat. You said it was real. I knew that. I felt it. So I've been writing in sonnets a lot, just as like an organizational format. And yeah, so you're gonna kind of hear things in the same amount of length. These are some poems from the summer. June 1st. All the marvelous fish, they are psychic divas in the fish tank. We make such guts of the weirdo world that I've had enough of my own feelings for once. I don't like it either. The unvouched frustrations washing up wet in my jean shorts like last week's coupons. Can I really think my way out of this? I snap blurtingly. Jeremy, my therapist, returns tiltless. Well, why not? Lysergic acid in springtime made my eyeballs drip sweat, and I felt a new spine rising from ass to cervix. Gratitude is the central pillar of my life. That language could fall like nuts from a tree branch leads me to feel the ground in disbelief. I'll jump around. June 10th. Unsure if CBD makes the railing on the balcony warble or its moisture swizzling down the Uber window. Moisture makes my focus finicky. Marion squats, peering cannon-faced over my friend who wears Haribo gummies double-taped to her areolas. Half Vogue, half toddler play phantasma. What can friendship do for us? You feel your world is crumbling. You need the words to devenomize fear. In each language I speak, worry, still cry undarned windsockishly. The old depression has not touched me the same way. Uncertainty dabbles across the faces of my friends. They are clear shadows cast across the bottom of the pond on the bright, slow day. Everything will be fine. You'll be okay no matter what. I could feel the future shake across you right before our faces met. June 16th. E6000 sloppily inglots a nodule, lodestone texture on the trackpad of my MacBook Pro. I've not been sniffing craft glue, besottedly mouth-breathing carcinogenics. Well, it is Pride season, a manifesto. Vince Camuto does not care about my unaesthetic lady feet. Beauty is a product of repetition. Beauty is a symptom of repetition. If you cement enough rhinestones to anything, you're permitted to collapse in the 7th hour and watch the ocean slink slutty between your hands. I feel dysphoric shopping for myself, but if I walk slow enough, any shoe will fit. The joke is a problem. My bank should bulge, my bunions be slight, my skin more wet, my eyes more dry. If I stop shaving, this is where my mustache grows like a cactus hoarding water dares yet to make flowers. Either an act of God or physics, the seawater breaks each time in sprays of salt, reminds me how piss play could be really hot. Then I want it to be annihilated. Testosterone palpates my face. I get watery when I look at my calves. Animal, aqueduct. The last new sensation I felt was pelvic, left me unannotated. When I'm lying in the park at sunset, I am the gleaming lady. My skin so rarely looks estrogen as fuck. I touched him and him this week. They tilted up like wind beneath a kite. When I was 8, my father pointed out a mountain in the distance by the sea where he harvested sweet potatoes when he was 9. He said, "That's God's thumb, hitchhiking the sky." I don't lie, my mind is indelicate. See, my father never spoke of God. I don't know that word in Chinese. Let's see. Oh, this is a good time to drink. Okay, this is ginsengi. Okay, see. Oh, it really does. It's like vegetal. Is that the word they use? It's vegetal. Oh, cheers. Thank you for coming out in this weather. It's like really sticky, but also like, yeah, it's just sticky actually. It's just really sticky and sticky. Here, I'm gonna read a longer piece. July 25th. Somewhere between the feeling and the country I sidle from sleep, floats my face on memory foam I made mushy with drool. We made plans. Meet me at the pie shop 2 avenues over where the sunned up Gowanus fan cakes a gray skirt over our heads. Your hair, a carrot's root makes for soft transit. We did not order pie. We talked instead. You gave an eye contact that washed the beauty of sense right ahead of what I could see. What are all the words we know? Let's piece it together. Our mothers are intelligent. Papers have isolated us. Togetherness can be brutal, yet we need it. I can't justify that I think you're the bravest person I know, and that I can't predict the limits of what you can do. It is unfair to make a flag of your feelings. You're scared all the time, angry too. I spread my nervous jamishly on sourdough. You buy earrings, vintage clip-ons I point on our way to Prospect. The stoop sale we pass in Park Slope clasps a violet bunch of ceramic flowers mid-sail on your earlobes. I photographed. The times we have failed our friends still haunt us. Some say comrades, siblings, or radicals. The path went thin. Full names and handles sprouted and bonded to whom? I barely know them. Rhetoric seems half cruel at this point. I'm beginning to learn and concede that I love the tiger lily in frame behind you goes full lyra. Upside down, I think flowers rhyme with everything. It's like an alien, you say. You're terrified that humanity will one day colonize outer space. I'm scared of my desire for closeness, that expressing genuine feelings can hurt people. I make a joke that every movie set in space is filmed on Earth. That was an old draft, but I finished reading it. Okay. I printed out an old draft, but I'm gonna read one last poem. This is called August Moments. August Moments. Dear Mom, summer has been great. I finished a crossword puzzle yesterday, same like before when I would desert the restaurant and not do work. I'm modeling at the Whitney tomorrow, dragged up for a drawing class. You took me to a museum once in Macau to see an exhibit on pearls. I felt silly, borrowed, and hot not understanding the Chinese docent. After we saw our lawyer in New York, I took you to Macy's 34th. You drank in the sight of the woman lit by Dior. You're so beautiful. Mom, I would brush and paint your face whenever you want. Just by the accident of our blood, I feel lovely. I love you, flowers, clouds, and language very, very much. Of course, like language, I love you. Like language, I barely know you. Big fantasy seeps from the soles where your black-laced Nikes reconcile the ground. Here, tease my whip-stitched dialect, approximating wind from window, winnow, whatever, etc. Mrs. Treblick had us replicate each the analog face of a clock from memory. It was the first piece of art I ever made. Sweating in elementary math, I squeezed every digit against one half the circle, a grotesque Crayola profile with its features 1 to 12 smooshed and speaking at once. Then I left the other half quiet, clean, poor as the earth from far seems unintentionally winking and blue. I really thought we had all the time in the world. Thank you.
Can we get another round of applause for Will for opening up our reading tonight? Thank you so much. Next is Kristin Chang. Kristin Chang is the author of the poetry chapbook Past Lives, Future Bodies, which will be published in the fall of 2018 by Black Lawrence Press. Kristin's work has been published in Teen Vogue, Muzzle Magazine, The Margins, The Shade Journal, and elsewhere. Her work has been nominated multiple times for the Best of the Net and Best New Poets. She works for Winter Tangerine and is passionate about martial arts films and matriarchy. Please give a hand to Kristin.
Thank you so much, bro. That was amazing. And also, I'm just really honored to be here. It's been like my dream to read here. And also, Emily, you curated, like, you chose a poem that, like, it was like one of my first poems to be published on the margins. I remember like getting an email from you, and I was like, oh my god. It was like a very big deal for me. So I feel like it's like come full circle, square shape. Oh, should I raise it? Okay, thank you. This first poem is called Roast Duck Elegy, and it's also kind of like a shout out to restaurant families. Roast Duck Elegy. In the window of my grandma's restaurant, a whole roast duck dressed in my clothes. I eat the chives from its chest wound, tie it a twine waist. My grandmother orders me from a display of the dead, welds me a crown from cutlery, tells me the story of a soldier eating his legs all night, bone his only light source. In this family, forgetting is famine. A body is having no choice but to eat. On the menu, we misspell chicken fingers as children fingers. We eat our gods out of grief, lose teeth to new last names. I conflate hunger with faith, fry my prayers in cornmeal and paste. The first summer I waitress, my grandmother warns me, white people don't like dark meat. The first man to pay me strokes my knee under the tablecloth, knocks the pen from my hand to watch me pick it up, says, how do I order one of you off the menu? My grandmother still spells duck like fuck, still beats me for eating before my father. Need is a hierarchy. How I've only ever seen my mother eat leftovers. On Sundays, she cleaves speaks, stuffs severed necks with psalms. She dices my garlic breath, my bigger breast, says a full stomach is the best flotation device. When crossing a sea, leave everything that sinks, jewelry, kitchen knives, children. Bring your tongue, but not its language. Name the body, but not what slaughtered it. My grandmother carries a roast duck to bed on the first night she's bride. As if hunger is a buffer, as if the difference between a woman and meat is wings. For months, she pretends she isn't pregnant. She starves herself to shed a son and grows 3 mouths of teeth. My father born, 5-limbed and fat. Proof the body will live for anyone but itself. Proof I'm alive because a man did not die, because a woman was willing to. Wow. So this poem is actually, it's like inspired by an essay that I had to do for school. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna look up this poet, her name is Woo Zhao, she's really cool. And like every article I found was like, Woo Zhao is like the Sappho of China. And I'm like, Sappho is the Woo Zhao of Greece. So this is called the Chinese Sappho. I was like very upset that literally every article was like, yeah, she's like the Sappho. I'm like, no, it's the other way around because she came first. But anyway, sorry, I'm a little bitter. The Chinese Sappho. To translate my mother, I swab her mouth with a sword. I have never understood her grief as grammar. She wants the plural of violet to be violence, the plural of woman, omen. I knew the definition of dam before dike. I've never read The Price of Salt, and blue is the warmest color is so white I wrote it this poem. Yes, I will always want my mother more than a lover, but I still dream of your breasts floating over my head like furred moons. I mumble your name with a blood-bent tongue. Daylight defaces me, shreds the eye. I lose more and more face every time a white woman compliments my eyes. I want to pluck them out, soft-boil them in their sockets, and eat away the whites. A tragedy that's Greek to you is Chinese to me. Is there a difference between wanting a country to home and wanting a body to own? Don't tell me I'll learn the language it takes to know. Don't tell me Woo Zhao is the Sappho of China. Don't forget Greek was once a tonal language. Like Chinese, it enters the body slant. They say the mouth shapes after its language. My mouth ringing your nipple is a vowel. In my dialect, every name begins on a vowel, the mouth circling itself. I circled your chest like a restless bird, cribbing inside your ribs, your heart wringing vowels out of blood. Over the phone, I teach my mother the difference between singular and plural. I say in English, the word changes to match the thing. She says, no, a word is the thing itself. One woman is a woman. Two, a woman, woman. Three, a woman, 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 she asks. When will you learn to act the word? Like a mother's voice, I want to be beginningless. I fantasize about my mother still alive. Too soon, the tones of my birth name sour like morning breath. When a word is gone, the meaning haunts the mouth hole. When my body doubles over, a ghost saddles my back. The sum of my meat is mare, the sum of my language, loss. So this next one, it's like a very long poem. I'm like incapable of not just like going on forever. But it's just like the third part of the section because it's like 3 massive sections. So I'll just read the third section. And I've been thinking a lot about like religious conversion. It's called conversion therapy. On TV, my nai watches the gay pride parade. Says she's never seen so many white people without clothes on her island. The missionaries beat native boys for going to school without shirts. How they flayed the brag of their brown till the bone showed, sudden as the sky between clouds. Here the pews fleshed from my thighs, the church organs harvested from corpses. Every Sunday the croon of Nai's calloused nipples. It was her job to nurse the missionary wives' children, while my father suckled on the udders of guns and knuckles of sugarcane. Nai fed American mouths, her milk black with flies. Above, the sky sighed through the roof, the sea shredding itself to tongue-sized pieces. Nai mutes the channel, and 2 men dye their beards in each other's mouths. 2 women tie the knot in each other's nooses. Gay marriage legalized before my grandmother. Instead of papers, Nai owns a Bible in every language she was beaten not to speak. Instead of a pension, Nai donates her name to God, repairs the roof with a prayer for rain, adopts church like the child she was never allowed to raise. And I guess for my last act, I don't know. Emily actually mentioned this poem when I was on the couch, so I was like, oh yes, I'll, attribute to you, I'll dedicate it. I was always like, oh, I'm never gonna write a persona poem. And then I discovered this really cool pirate. Her name is Sueyeun, and like the reason why she's so unique is she's the only known pirate in the world to retire peacefully. Like obviously pirates, like it's a very violent profession, so most of them just like die pirating. But she like retired in China on the beach, and it was amazing. And like her name means like she has a name, but she's known as Qing's widow because her husband was like the pirate king, whatever. She like took over his fleet. So I was like, oh, I want to like give her back her name, which is Fragrant Maiden in Chinese, because I'm like, widow, like screw that. So yeah, and she's also like, she just like terrorized European like colonial trading forces. Like the Dutch army had like posts out for her, the British army were after her, and also the Qing Empire was like, we need to like catch her, but she just like retired and was like, ha ha, like sipping cocktails on the beach, like ha ha, you'll never get me. So I wrote this called Fragrant Maiden is China's Most Wanted. And for context, she was actually a sex worker. She got kidnapped from a brothel and then taken at sea, and then she literally just took over the fleet and was like, you're my fleet now. And they're like, we kidnapped you, we kidnapped you. And she's like, no, I'm kidnapping you now. So she just like took over the fleet. So that's Fragrant Maiden. Fragrant Maiden is China's Most Wanted. The country's least wanted, girls and ghosts. God, I wasn't born, I cannonballed out of my mother. I hollowed her breasts into boats. Oh China, my country, my consort, my loyal leash. You aren't the first to say you want me on my back at the brothel. I was born most wanted, China's best whore. When the midwife unbuttoned my mouth for men, I sirened, I lamped my bones, and the boys mouthed to me, said, "Woman, I've got to have you, half you, like a river. I have no memory of being named. I flood anonymous. I rinse Canton like my rice bowl. Bitch that I am, I bark into a tree. You can't fuck a country, wants me like a man wants his mother. A mouth to eat out of a mouth to eat out of, a bullet-holed breast sprays a meadow with milk, grows heads of cabbages, clients, brothel mothers beat me with brooms, whip me with my own braid. I belt a sea song. I sack my body to steal it back. Listen to my mast, moan as it makes a wind to marry. I sail home to you, China, hear the shore shark with teeth, and eat you out to sea. I stroke my sword, I finger comb your beach clean, I slut like the sea. I'm room enough for every man to drown inside me twice. China, say you want me, I'll come with the fleet to father you. Oh, oh yes, I'm coming, I'm coming, I'm coming for you.
Wow, oh my gosh, thank you, Kristin, that was incredible. Can we give another hand to Crystal? I'm basically gonna make all of you clap twice for everyone, because that's what they deserve. Thank you so much, Kristin. Next up is Sueyeun Juliette Lee. Sueyeun Juliette Lee is a writer, video artist, and cultural worker who writes about light, displacement, imaginations of the future, and movement. She is the author of That Gross Feeling by Coconut Press 2008, Underground National from the Factory School Press in 2010, Solar Maximum from Future Poem from 2015, which is on sale in the back, and No Comment, That Serpent in the Sky Means Noise, a 2017 publication by Core Press. A meditation, I'm so sorry. Lee has held fellowships with the Pew Center for Arts and Heritage. I'm so sorry. Kunstar Huset Messen? Is that Kunstar Huset? And Hofnarborg. Is that right? Okay. And the UCross Foundation. In 2006, she founded Corollary Press, which publishes chapbooks of multi-ethnic writing. And she lives in Denver, Colorado, where she serves as programs director at Chinook Fund, a community foundation that funds grassroots social justice work across Colorado. Please give it up for Sueyeun. Yay!
Success! I didn't trip and fall and smash my wrist. Last time I was here, I fell down so hard that the whole audience went, and it was really embarrassing. So thank you so much to Emily for inviting all of us to participate in this really beautiful debut event, and thank you all to the staff at the Asian American Writers Workshop. I'm sorry, who worked so hard to make this space possible, and for all of you for giving time tonight to be here. I just wanted to say that so this alcohol up here, it's not just a little gimmick. It's like a Korean traditional grain alcohol, and this is actually the Chuseok holiday, which is to celebrate our ancestors and enjoy family. And so as ethnic kin with Emily, I just wanted us to share in that. So Kristin's also underage, which is why she didn't participate. So just wanted to point that out. But there's a whole bottle here if anyone afterwards wants to come up and enjoy a little bit. So I thought I'd start with a piece called Notes for a Style of Speaking. Okay. Notes for a Style of Speaking, and this is actually part 2. There was no part 1 that was published. Swiftly, like a whirlwind, run at full speed, run fast, dash. Proceed to enter, to hush up. A school, a process, an amplitude of vibration, a course of action, a path. Shake off the feathers of, throw off the yoke of, run out. Progress with a program as arranged. Make rapid, slow progress. Be going on, be underway. Crimson, cardinal, scarlet. Repose of souls, a requiem for the deceased. A theory of evolution. That is better in quality and quantity than this. Be amazed, be soft, watery, aghast, dumbfounded, turn deadly pale with horror. An earthen pot, a shoulder strap, a malady, a questionnaire, a questioner. Drag a heavy thing. Walk with one's skirt trailing. Shuffle one's feet along. Be saddled with a debt or duty. This heavy wind a complaint. Be dark, deep, exhausted, true. Thank you all. I'm so excited to hear from your book, Emily. I'm just the little read-ups. I'm already like goose pimpling. So I'm going to read from this book, Solar Maximum, which is probably my weirdest book ever. It's my favorite accolade is it was nominated for Speculative Poetry Award, which is like the geekiest thing ever. Their website is like a GeoCities website that's somehow still alive. So I'm really fascinated with like imaginations of the future. And I think also as like a marginalized people, we have to, I love looking to the past, but we have to be the people that innovate what comes next, right? Like I think all this suffering and hardship and wisdom is to help us design like other ways of being. So I really enjoy like being in community with you all tonight. And just want to say, it's not just a nerd space, that's our space. You know, it's the alternative space. So I'll just read like two prose poems from this. And a little note. So Solar Maximum is like, how would we be changed by the light of the sun as the sun's dying? So the sun's like literally giving way, and it's like monster lights filling our bodies. And so this is like a study in like human psyche and transformation in that kind of like death light. Right, the meanest light defends you. Around the Arctic is an imagined circle, and its resolve depends on our shared imagining. We keep it knit there in a version of stasis with our most basic comprehension, our having to triangulate with harsh extremities from vast distances. That circle might now be shrinking, or vast quantities of it set loose to fail. Sun-blindedness is no longer an epiphenomenon, an attendant attitude of danger buried under mounds of quiet. As a roving brilliance, those caught in it truly reckon how the meanest light defends you. Crackling is a great disturbance, but the surface of the sea quietly absorbs even the deepest, most damaging frequencies. If brightness is a quantity, while oceans writhe and heave around it, if the life forms that manipulated and characterized the wintry impossible we imagined are true, then we must resolve ourselves to differences, to hazard alongside insight at this, the cold navel of the world. Okay, a devastation of unknown magnitude. To the small star inside, we set up a makeshift rotation that gives us each a momentary relief. Watching is a rudimentary course of action. we detail each thought as it appears. This is a gentle activity despite the aggressiveness of the surround. A thought is the beginning of an opening, and we work diligently to trace its aperture, the outline of its extent. When he tells us he simply doesn't know and is unable to track any origins, we recognize the rotation has failed. The small star inside is an obvious integer, but to this he has become blind. Our job is simple, but can lead to a devastation of unknown magnitude. The inconclusiveness of feelings that arise moves with the heat and dynamism analogous to the surface of the sun. In the end, our documents amount to the need for a primary mother. One member of our party becomes obsolete. So I wanted to just read like a newer piece. Password. Type. Okay. So I think I'm gonna share. Where is it? Okay. So one quick one, and then like a little a closing poem. So, oops. Okay. After noise. So this one's the quickie, and then I'll close with a different piece. And who are you now? And who are you now in this different blue space without pain? Remarking on chemtrails and snowmelt. Misreading the sea, whose letters cease to arrive. Remain transfixed in mid-flight. Turbulent coasts aloft. As a principle of light. Count invisible clams under nameless sands. Cut apostrophes into the air. Announcements. Send far-flung greetings to strangers for days. Keep the magma enigma at bay. Daily joys. Effaced, vaporous, pale, generous smoke rising. So cling to the dark hand inside you, its basalt fingers rounded. And so to conclude, I think I just want to share something new I'm working on. So I feel like I've been kind of living in a grief space for a long time, so I kind of wanted to write like erotica. I feel like you could give me some lessons as well. And you too, I mean, Kristin. So I live in Colorado now, and it's really beautiful and green, and people actually enjoy themselves versus out here sometimes where they're just like angry and ambitious. So I was excited to just like tap into some like different kind of imaginations. So a lot of this is, I call it like environmental erotica. So it's like kind of bodies transfiguring with like elements. So this one is condensation, not a linear flame. Okay. With animal preparation, nest in the moist birch curls rich with secretive lavender teeth. Powder, pale fragrance dusts the bridge of my nose when I raise my head to catch a thick breath. Push deeper. Dark roots lit with quicksilver heave beneath your murmuring mouth for hours. Tear and tie the rough linens of sinews with the syncopated intensity. Muscles swollen to gleam. And of what honest gravity? Lamplit, then drawn down. Likewise, pull magenta spurts into quick succession until they recede. Observe onyx marbles as they roll sideways over rough planks. Meditate on ancestral pathways like migratory swarms through the sky. Your tongue flickers in a mind with a slow condensation, not a linear flame. My spine takes on a horizon. curve resplendently over black-red coals. Roll them methodically over and over and over again into delirious dissipation, the finest dark dust. Drag citrine through them, hold it in your mouth for days. At dusk, we see the fuchsia rose gleam of gone. It catches in ice's stiff columns clinging gently from the trees. Seek out the endless turns of water's mutability, how it miraculously captures day's quiet speech. My mouth glides over its slick script, notes mineral composites as they slip down the smooth walls of my throat. Churn. Kneel and lap the slow bitumen sleeping from between my legs. Taste the hesitating starlight before its final jet black of flame. Thank you all so much. And congrats again to Emily, and thank you, AAWW.
Thank you, Juliette. Thank you so much, Juliette. And now I have the distinct honor of introducing Emily Jungmann Yoon here tonight. Yay! Tonight was my first time meeting Emily, but Emily has been involved with AAWW since 2014 when she was an intern here, and Emily currently serves as the poetry editor for The Margins, so we've been looking forward to this event for a very long time. We are so honored to have Emily Jungmann Yoon here tonight, an amazing poetry editor who we've had the pleasure of working with at AAWW since 2014. It's super exciting to see someone we know come of age with writing a book. Her debut collection, A Cruelty Special to Our Species, is an amazing accomplishment. As our director Ken Chen shared, it's an intense and rigorous interrogation of the experiences of Korean comfort women. But these poems do not have the unmediated documentary character one often associates with the poetry of witness tradition. Rather, these poems mediate their experiences through the skein of language. The sentences keep doing backflips, revving against the materiality of etymology in an utterly propulsive way. The poems in this book are records of earthly and human violence, the sexual slavery of Korean comfort women, lives lost during natural disasters, and the everyday accumulate in ways that women hurt are made to silently accept that pain. We are so excited and honored to hear Emily read from that work tonight. Emily is also the author of Ordinary Misfortunes, the 2017 winner of the Sunken Garden Chapbook Prize by Tupelo Press. She was born in Busan, Republic of Korea, and received her BA at the University of Pennsylvania and MFA in creative writing at New York University. She has been the recipient of awards and fellowships from Plowshares Emerging Writers Contest, AWP's WCNC Scholarship Competition, and the Poetry Foundation, among others. Her poems and translations have appeared in publications including The New Yorker, Poetry, The New York Times Magazine, and Korean Literature Now. She currently serves as the poetry editor for The Margins and is a PhD student studying Korean literature in the Department of East Asian Languages and Civilizations at the University of Chicago. Please give Emily a warm round of applause.
Is this good? Okay. Thank you for that introduction. Thank you for coming despite it being a rainy Tuesday. It's Tuesday, right? And it's really meaningful for me to stand here. I was an events intern here starting in 2014, and I've been serving as a poetry editor here. And today is Poetry Tuesday, which is our weekly feature. So I'm very grateful for the space that the workshop provides. And I'm really grateful to be reading with these three amazing people who are very innovative poets. And Wo, it has been a friend of mine since 2013 when I arrived in New York. And I'm also grateful for all the friends who showed up here. I feel like this book we wrote together, even when I was writing alone, your voices stayed with me, and without you, I wouldn't be standing here with a book, with a review copy of my book. I'm still going on with my Grammy speech. I'm also very thankful to the senior publicity manager at Echo, Martin, who's also here. He's been very gracious and patient with me as I emailed him 1,000 times. And also I'm very, very grateful to Jin, my agent. If I may use a Pokemon reference, her hand was like the thunderstone that turned my Eevee into a Jolteon. So you're my hero. Okay. A weird metaphor. I don't know why I said that, but it's to say that she's been magical and incredible, as Pokemon is. Okay. An ordinary misfortune. Mine is the jam-packed train, the 2-week cocktail, the statement by an American man at the bar, your life in Korea would have been a whole lot different without the US, meaning be thankful. This question by a Canadian girl, a friend, why don't you guys just get along? The guys, Japan and Korea, meaning move on. How do I answer that? Move on, girls on the train. Destination, comfort stations. Things a soldier can do, mount you before another soldier is done. Say, drink this soup made of human blood. Say, the Korean race should be erased from this earth. Tops down, bottoms up. Things erased, your child, your name, your history, your new name, Fumiko, Hanako, Yoshiko. Name of the condom, charge number 1. Name of the needle, compound 606. Salverson means an arsenic to save. Ratio 29:1, 29 soldiers per girl. Actual count, lost, all. Shot. Everybody, give thanks. Oh, I forgot we have. Okay, here's to our ancestors. I'm like trembling. An ordinary misfortune. What is pressing? What is pressed? Or who? My grandmother, a woman, a teen. Her father presses the gate shut, presses her into a crate, the crate into a shed. She unfolds by morning, binds her chest. She walks unwomaned. An American soldier sees her and yells, "Stop over there," in Japanese, the language they've both learned. When she runs, she's unmistakably woman. She falls, he laughs. What is a body in a stolen country? Or whose? What is right in war? What is left in war? War hasn't left Korea. I have. I fold, I give up myself to you. Which one of you said, let's have raunchy Korean sex, to me? Which one of you didn't? Do you represent America to me? Did those soldiers to her? We didn't fear war. We feared the Allies, she said. Oh. I'm going to read the one New York poem I have. I was in Koreatown, and this guy yelled out some random Korean to me. He wasn't Korean, and it was "Hello, Miss Pretty Bitch" in Korean, and I think he was using it to pick up Korean women or to harass them. And I just thought it was so striking that I was like, I'm going to write a poem about this experience. Maybe I was on my way to meet Wo to go to karaoke or something. But anyway. Hello, Miss Pretty Bitch. The street drummer calls out in Korean, no doubt thinking it a compliment, a pleasant surprise, cinched with red ribbons, for Christmas, the day select theaters will gift us with The Interview, a comedy in which two American journalists ignite Kim Jong-un's face. Freedom has prevailed, the film star Seth Rogen says about the release. The same was thought at the time of Korea's release from the Japanese Empire, though then the Korean War began, and compared to war, what's so bad about a movie? Anyway, even war can be funny, and now a drummer in New York says, "You got a smile that could light up the whole town." Though I'm not smiling, thinking about villages and cities of what became North Korea set on fire, sending puddles of twilight into sunless skies as if flames could stab. But his freedom of speech prevails. Freedom always prevails, which is why we get to see two Americans incinerate a Korean face on Christmas, hold our popcorn and chocolate bars, and laugh as the dictator explodes in tune to a pop song. Laugh as American soldiers would laugh at Korean children chanting, "Hello, hello, give me chocolate," with wartime hunger. Laugh as they choose which face to light up. The next poem I'm going to read is called Obelai. I've never read that poem out loud, but I heard it's Ern's favorite poem. Ern is one of the interns here. So, Obelai. How fitting the obelisk dotted the margins of ancient manuscripts, marking spurious passages, then became the symbol for division, one line balancing a circle above and a circle beneath, two heads never to touch each other. How our peninsula became one obelisk. How swift the sunderance of families. How fitting that division is military. In elementary school, we learned division, its quotient and remainder, sang about reunification, brought bags of rice for our northern half, not knowing the spurious passages they would travel, that the white grains never touched the hands we held in our paintings. How enduring the sunderance of lovers, how the obelisk gets its name from a spit, a lance, how in college my Korean boyfriend registered to fulfill the compulsory military service. His American friends joked about killing all the North Koreans, beheading them, how when he laughed, it was as though his shaved head was of somebody else. How I thought about reunification again, wanted the armistice to be over, to be brought to swift justice for my sake. Switching gears a little bit, I'm going to read Jin's favorite poem. It's also the last poem in this book. Time in Wales. Our legs of yellow skin next to one another, calves spread, I think of beached whales, the arcs of their bellies, clean and gleaming. A whale would lie in the shape of something cold, the body sipping on itself like a drain. Gravity sucks a whole whale onto sand. You study Korean, whispering, 무로르다, 무로르다, meaning, literally, water rises, but really meaning to improve or to rise in sap in springtime trees. Come spring, it will be your birthday. We will have seaweed soup, supply our blood with oxygen. Do you know that Koreans do that because hundreds of years past, they saw whales eating seaweed after giving birth? You cross your legs, their hair black and coarse like my father's and my grandfather's across the ocean. And do you know that whales have hair, perhaps a sign of their past when they walk the earth? Summer of years past, your father across the same ocean to bring you to America, where you would grow up speaking a language different from mine. Do you know that whales too detect where one another comes from through song? That music I hear is yours and ours. 무로르다, 무로르다. Water rises. Whales die in this year's hot winter. Your father has told you of the summer, the dank heat. Your foster mother ran after you, you already asleep in your father's arms, wailing your name. You will not be called by that name the next day, and years will pass by. But when you're 10, you will write about that story and spell whale as the animal whose breath is a distance, spouting steam, the great animal that becomes crushed by air and sprayed with words, man's fault. And yes, so perhaps the world will end in water, taking with it all loving things. And yes, in grace, only song, only buoyancy. You rise now, whispering, 물올리다, 물올리다, meaning, literally, to raise water, but really meaning to bring water to a boil. I'm going to read one more poem that's not in the book. If that's okay. So this is a very new poem, the newest poem. I wrote it a few months ago. It's called Litany for the Green. When I was 5, my grandfather took me to the tomb of King Suro, lifted me over the stone fences to watch me slide down the mound over and over again. Did he do this because he was an old man, because he didn't know where young parents take their children, like the aquarium or the water park or the toy store? Or did he because he was once a child who never went to any of these? Was it because I was a child whom he assumed would enjoy sliding endlessly? And wasn't he right about how children conceive time differently, or that their imagination works differently, and that every slide was, in fact, different? Or did he do this because he was an old man who thought the only destination left for him was the grave? Or did he not care about death and ancient bodies? Had he become indifferent to sacred things, like a young mother hung over a stone fence with a child still crying on her back, or his village burned to the ground? Did war take his morning and night, his conception of time? Did he know my grandmother then, a young woman waking to the amber light from his village, thinking it morning? Did he do this because the park keeper, also an old man, let him? Was he an old man? Was my grandfather? Was he old at all? Was she ever an old woman, his mother, whose grave he died on, cutting its grass? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Emily, and thank you so much to our readers tonight. We have books for sale in the back, and this is a good time for wine and mingling. Enjoy.